I will be playing a game with my Rate and Climb account, and I will teach you how to think during a chess game. And this will really help you to find better moves during your games and also to find tactics during your games. So first of all, for the opening, I will probably be playing the Pegasus system, my own opening system. It always depends a little bit on what black plays, but in general, I usually play the Pegasus system, which is a d4 opening, and in which we play the knight to d2 very early on. But you can use my strategy that I will teach you with any opening that you want. It's just that this is the opening that I prefer playing, this Pegasus system. So what I do as a strategy is the CCTO strategy that I talked about in previous videos as well, which is checks, captures, threats, optimization. And that is just a 4-step thinking framework that you can use to find the best move in any position, and it really makes chess way easier. For the opening, I do think it is important that you have some idea of what you are going to play. Not that you memorize it, but that you have some basic idea of what you are trying to play for. For example, I know I always play this EDC setup with the pawns, the knights like this, the bishop is here protecting, and now I will grab that pawn, make their bishop move forward and play b4. So this is just one of the possible lines here in the Pegasus system, which is this that I have right here. So I know this, I have played this before, and that is an advantage, of course, because that means I will be able to play more quickly. And I can play the opening more quickly, and I am 100% sure that I'm not really making any stupid mistakes, that I'm not blundering anything, and I always just have a very pleasant position. So that is how I recommend that you approach the opening. Not trying to hardcore memorize everything, but just try to play a similar setup every single time, and that way you will be saving time and you will have a very pleasant game. Like I am at move 10 and I have had this position many times before, so I don't really have to think that much about it. Bishop d6 is not super common. They usually play bishop to b6, but I think everything is still perfectly the same. We just developed the two bishops. We have the queen active. This knight is still doing a good job here, taking aim at this square, and then we will castle. And the CCTO strategy that I will teach you is mostly for the middle game. That is when we will be using it. So let's just see what black does. I think there is a big chance that they will castle, probably, and then I will also look if we can castle. The only thing I have to watch out for is that there might in the future be some type of trick. I will show you. It depends a little bit what they play. But that is a way how you can also avoid misery. Because I think if I had castle, let's say they castle, I castle, there would be something like bishop takes h2, I have to take that and I lose my knight. So it's important that you do the same calculation, the CCTO, for your opponent as well. You also want to calculate all of their checks, captures and threats. This is a bit of a strange move. I even think that this might be a mistake by him. I'm not really sure. So I'm looking for a move. I have a check, so I don't even think too much about it. It's just a check, and it also gets my bishop to a different square, so the knight can't take it. So I think that's fine. Depends a little bit what they play, and then I will just have to move my queen probably to the e2 square. But that is fine, because queen e2 is where you usually want your queen to be in this opening. And the reason why, that's also a very good tip, is you don't want your queen to be here. You don't want your queen to be on a file where there might potentially be a rook. That's why I like something like queen to e2, having your queen behind your pawn, and that way she cannot be attacked by a rook, but she still has a lot of influence over those diagonals. And he moves the king. I don't know what the strategy is behind that, but it's very creative chess. I don't know why they moved the king. That's something I haven't seen in a while. I think he was going to block with one of the knights. That looked like it made sense to me. But okay. So we move the queen. All right. Okay, they attack. We have to move. Let's see, where are we going to go? The same thing applies if I go here. I am in some line putting myself in trouble. So I am just going to play safe. Because in this opening, you always want your bishops to be aiming at the enemy king. That is what we want. So the light squared bishop is best on these two squares, because then it's aiming at the king, and he is just helping me, basically giving me a free move here to improve the bishop. Okay, and I don't know what this king is doing here. That's one of the most confusing things I have seen in a while. But it is okay. I just want to castle and get to safety. What's happening with this game? He is sacrificing a bishop. That is just a little bit crazy, I think. Why is he sacrificing this bishop? That doesn't make sense to me. And I can take this knight for free. So I don't know what's going on. He just gave me this knight for free. Yeah, that's a free piece. And if he takes, I just take back, and he just gave me a free piece. So there's nothing going on. And that is how I win at chess. Your opponent self-destruct. Okay, he has a couple of checks. It looks a little bit scary. But nothing's going on. He just gave me a free piece. And that is why I always try to teach that you just have to play a solid opening and use CCTO, so the checks, captures, threats optimization. Because most of the time this is how your games will go. Your opponents will just self-destruct. I have to say I am now almost at 1700 rating, right? And the opponent is moving the king and giving a free piece as well. So yeah, I think everything looks fine. This square is always safe. The knight can't give me a check. So everything is looking great. And I think they are again blundering as well, because this is a free pawn potentially. But I will attack the knight first. So I wanted to show you CCTO, but I guess we won't have a lot of CCTO here if they just self-destruct, right? It's a very early self-destruction. I will calculate a check first. It doesn't do anything. I have a capture, but he goes here with the rook and also wins back the pawn. So I will play this move, which is a threat. We are getting the knight out of there. And if he goes to the very nice looking square c5, he is not paying any attention, because CCTO tells me we have a check, right? We calculate the checks first. And then we win a free knight. So yeah, it was a short game, but it just shows you that even at this level, you can just win by playing a normal looking opening and using the CCTO strategy. I just checked with the analysis, and apparently moving the king to f8 was actually the best move in that position, which I think is crazy. But the problem is apparently that everything else that black plays, it just collapses, right? Because this is just a simple check, a lot of troubles as well, a lot of pieces hanging. There is always double pressure here as well. I was thinking that this move could be the best with the knight here, but apparently it's not the best because of this. This should be a very good position for white. But I have to say that this is super complicated. So congratulations to my opponent, because this was actually the top engine move, moving the king to f8. But black is losing anyways.